When Sutter breaks up with his longtime girlfriend and becomes smitten with a new girl, Amy, he is forced to decide what type of person he would like to be. This is The Spectacular Now.
What's your story?
I don't really have any stories.
What do you mean? Everyone's got a story.
I don't know. I'd like to think that there's more to a person than just one thing.
You're 17 years old. You don't have an ex-boyfriend?
No.
Really?
Sutter, guys don't look at me like that. I'm like...
Yeah, absolutely, guys look at you like that.
No.
Amy, you're absolutely beautiful.
Oh my God, no.
And if she falls for you, what happens then?
Should we take our shirts off?
I was really looking forward to The Spectacular Now because it seemed like a different type of coming-of-age romance, and it seemed very genuine, mainly because the cast seemed very believable and very real. They didn't look like supermodels or anything like that. They looked like normal people. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that it was just something that you could possibly relate to, as opposed to seeing, you know, an actress that is all done up and looks perfect. It was definitely more compelling to me just from the trailer alone. And while the movie was definitely different than I was expecting, I did like it quite a bit. I wasn't head over heels in love with it like I wish I could have been because, you know, there were moments where I was, but overall I wasn't. However, the performances are fantastic, and like I said, they felt very, very real. But let's get a little more into The Spectacular Now, starting off with the plot and the writing, which I thought was good. I do think that it took a turn kind of in the middle that I wasn't really expecting, and I enjoyed it. I appreciate it for what it was, but it wasn't quite what I was hoping for, I guess. And I'll get into that a little bit with some spoilers toward the end of this review. But as far as the writing goes, the dialogue I thought was great. It seemed like a lot of it might have been improv, you know, sort of like, you know, here's the script, get to this point, get there how you want to. And I suppose it's more in the directing, but I am definitely glad that they were able to do that, or so it seems, at least. It definitely comes off that way, because it adds to the realism, it adds to being able to relate sort of to the characters and the situation when it's not feeling completely forced, and never did it feel forced. It always felt very genuine and very real. What I also loved about the directing was the fact that I'm a huge fan of when a director lets actors act, and boy oh boy did that happen here plenty of times, especially when it was just long, uncut shots. I'm thinking of The Party, for example, when they're walking through the woods away from the party. Amazing. I absolutely loved that whole scene, and I was conscious of it toward the end, like, man, this has been one long take. This is fantastic. And I love that. Because of all this, there were lots of little awkward moments, sort of awkward pauses, awkward silences, you know, where they didn't seem to know exactly what to say, and that really, really added to it. That added a whole level of, you know, relatability and realism that I really, really appreciated. There is one scene, however, that I will talk about when I can talk spoilers at the end of this review that I hated, and ironically it follows a scene that I loved. I will get a little more into that in just a few minutes. But first, let's also talk about the acting, which, like I said, probably the best part of the movie, just because, aside from the fact that they looked like real people, you know, Shailene Woodley is a cutie I wouldn't mind seeing on screen, and boy did I not mind seeing her on screen, but she looks like a human being. She looks like a real person, especially in this movie. They made sure to make these people look real. Miles Teller looks like a real kid. But of course, the looks are not the only important factor to their performances. I thought that their acting in general was fantastic. I really loved the chemistry between Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley. Like I said, the little awkward moments, the little awkward beats, I really thought were great. And in the past, I have to say, I haven't been a big fan of Miles Teller. I thought he was a bit obnoxious in 21 and Over, for example. But here, I don't know if it's him or the directing, the editing, what. I guess it could be a mix of everything. I thought that he was really, really great, totally turned me around to him, and so good for him. I am very glad for that because he pulled off the emotional stuff, he pulled off the funny stuff, and again, Shailene Woodley as well. I love Shailene Woodley, and I thought that she did the same. She definitely pulled off the emotional stuff. I really felt for her character, I felt for both characters, and there are a lot of other people. I'm not going to get into everybody, but I thought the cast in general did a great job. I really can't say anything bad about the performances. I think that was probably the best part of the movie, although there were a lot of things I did like about it. But like I said, there was one scene that I really did not like, and there was also sort of a plot thing that I wasn't expecting, but I can't talk about that without talking spoilers, so I will say overall, really, really enjoyed The Spectacular Now. Did not love it like I expected I might, but I definitely appreciated a lot about it, and I really had a great time with it. But now I am going to talk spoilers for The Spectacular Now, so if you have not seen it, please, please, please stop watching right now, go check out The Spectacular Now, and then you can come back and see what I had to say. So first things first, before I get to the part that I really did not like, I will talk about the bit of the plot that I definitely wasn't expecting. I saw one trailer one time, so maybe it's more prominent in the trailers, and I should have known this going in. I didn't know halfway through it took this turn, really going more into Miles and his father, and Miles and his past, sort of, than Miles and Shailene Woodley, you know? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I thought it was great. It just kind of felt a little bit almost like two different movies. It didn't really gel together like I would hope it would. I definitely expected it to be primarily about the two of them together, Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller. But the first half is definitely like that, and then the ending, it gets more like that. There's this big chunk in the middle where it's just very, very different. Good, but different. And so, you know, take that for what it's worth. That's all I'm saying about it. I did like it a lot, though. I thought the acting was still great from everybody, and, you know, again, not complaining, just acknowledging that it was different. And the part that I really, really did not, you know, bordering on hated was the part where Shailene Woodley gets hit by a car, or grazed by a car, I guess, whatever happened there. I could barely tell exactly what happened, but the scene just before that, when he almost crashes and he's like, I almost just killed you, why are you with me, blah, blah, blah. I loved it. I loved it, and I got it. I got that he thought he was bad for her and she needed to get away from him. He says it out loud. And then, like, to really drive it home, she gets injured, and it's like, oh, wow, he's really bad for her, but I already got that. And I just really hated that, and I almost thought, like, man, is this going to ruin the whole movie for me? But it didn't matter, because she's just like, oh, it's all good, whatever, I've got a cast, I'm all right. And then they pretty much just forget about that completely. So really, you could probably cut that scene out of the movie and it would be fine, and so therefore, it doesn't ruin the movie. But I did not like that scene. Overall, though, like I said, I really did enjoy The Spectacular Now. I thought the performances were fantastic. Spectacular, even. Get it? Because it's the title of the movie. At times, I was very much in love with the movie. Sometimes I was not, so it was a little bit uneven for me, but overall, I really did enjoy The Spectacular Now. But I would like to know what you thought of The Spectacular Now, so please let me know down in the comments, what did you think of this movie? Did you think it was just perfect? Did you think it was a little bit uneven, not necessarily in a bad way, just in a different way than you were expecting like I did? What did you think of, and please don't spoil anything in the comments, put a spoiler tag. What did you think of that scene where she gets hit by a car? Do you think that was fine, or are you like me? I really, really did not like that scene. Definitely let me know what you thought of the performances, specifically, of course, Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley. What did you think of them in the past? Did this change your opinion of them like it did for me a little bit with Miles Teller? Once you're done leaving me a comment, you can click the links over here to check out a review of another romance that I loved called Like Crazy, a movie with Miles Teller in it that I did not really like him in called 21 and Over, and a movie with Shailene Woodley in it called The Descendants. But don't forget to let me know anything that you want about The Spectacular Now. And that's pretty much it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To you, Amy Finicky.
To you, Mr. Cute.